Okay, hello everyone. Hi guys, good evening. How are you all? Good evening, everyone. Am I audible to everyone? Yes. Am I audible to everyone? Am I visible to everyone? Audio, video, everything is good, working fine? Yes or no? Kindly just please comment once. Everyone, you guys. Just please comment once about the audio and video. Everything is good, working fine. So, today we have this very important class that is priority sector advances. Now, priority sector advances, why I am taking this class this time in all for all of you, because there are new updates regarding the priority sector advances. So we are just updating the figures, we are updating the data, whatever the new mentions figure which are actually released by the government in this March 2025, which is the updated percentage for the priority sector advances. Let's look out for that. First of all, let's talk about the priority sector advances. So priority sector advances has been formalized in year 1972. Okay, and this has been formalized by Reserve Bank of India. Okay, the at very initial stage, we know that at the very initial stage, priority sector, all the commercial bank have been given a uniform target of 40%. Okay, it means that they have to at least lend 40% of their total credit as the priority sector advance. This was the initial simple target. But after the recommendation of different committees, okay, there were different committees which has been introduced. Priority sectors have been the targets which are given under the priority sector, these have been changed. Okay, now first of all, let's talk about what are the different percentage, or what are the different priority sector percentage, or when we are talking about what are the different categories of the priority sector. Just a second. So when we are talking about the different categories of the priority sector, okay, so the very first is the agriculture sector. We know that agriculture sector is a priority sector. Then we have the micro, small, and medium enterprises, which is the priority sector. Then we have the export credit, priority sector, education, the priority sector, housing, priority sector, social infrastructure, the priority sector, renewable energy, the priority sector, and the others. This is all the priority sector. So we have the 8 categories of the priority sector. Now, first of all, let's look out the adjusted net bank credit, ANBC. Okay, so adjusted net bank credit is a very important word before I start percentage. So we have to look out for two words: adjusted net bank credit and credit equivalent of balance sheet exposure. Okay, now what is adjusted net bank credit? How you can calculate the adjusted net bank credit? So it is net bank credit plus the eligible deposit. What are the eligible deposit with any NABARD, National Housing Bank, SIDBI, Mudra banks, right? Plus any minus any exempted items plus eligible investments. So this is the formula for calculating the adjusted net bank credit. Okay. Now, here there is an important thing to note, that there is no deductions like provision or accrued interest which is allowed. So, you have no deductions for any type of provisions which is made, for any type of accrued interest you are paying. Right, now credit equivalent of balance sheet exposure, this is actually calculated as per Reserve Bank of India's large exposure framework. So there is a large exposure framework which has been defined by Reserve Bank of India. So credit equivalent of balance sheet exposure, it is based on that LEF which has been updated in year 2019 by Reserve Bank of India, right? Now, write-off at the head office level must proportionally reduce the priority sector lending achievements. Okay, so when we are talking about the important point, this is the important point: adjusted net bank credit. This is the very important point. Okay, now let's talk about the percentage. So the percentage and the targets. First of all, in this particular thing, in this particular column, we are seeing all the domestic commercial bank, and all the foreign banks which have 20 plus branches, or we have 20 and more than 20 branches. Now, in this, we are looking for all the foreign banks which have less than 20 branches. In this, we have all the regional rural banks target, and in this, we have the small finance bank target, right? Now, when we are talking about the domestic commercial bank and for those foreign bank which have more than 20 branches, now here the total priority sector means all the eight categories the target has been given either 40% of the adjusted net bank credit or credit equivalent of balance sheet exposure, whichever is higher. Whichever is higher is actually the target. Now, in the foreign banks which have less than 20 branches, now for that, again 40% of ANBC or COPE, whichever is higher. Now, here there is important thing in this 40% for these bank you can lend up to 32% as an export credit. Now, export credit is also a priority sector, right? Now, not less than 8% to the what? The 32% can be given to the export credit. It is the maximum you are allowed to give in the export credit. Okay. And in the export credit, you are not allowed to give less than 8% if you are a foreign bank which have less than 20 branches. Then we have the regional rural banks. Regional rural bank, the target is 75% of either the ANBC or COBE, whichever is higher. Okay. And the small finance bank, for the small finance bank, it is again the 75% of ANBC or COBE, whichever is higher. Okay. Now, next, when we are talking about the percentages, so here, like agriculture sector, in the agriculture sector, for all the domestic commercial bank and the foreign banks which have 20 plus branches, it is 18% of ANBC or COBE, whichever is higher. Now, within this limit, 18% up to 14% is for the non-corporate farmers, NCF, okay? And out of which out of which 10% is for small and marginal farmers. So here it is the change. 18% it is for the domestic commercial bank and for all those who which have plus 20 plus branches, right? Now here in 18%, 14% is for the non-corporate farmers and under 14%, 10% up to 10% target is given for the small and marginal farmers. Okay. Now it is not applicable. There is no such conditions given for the foreign banks which have less than 20 branches. Now for regional rural bank, it is 18% of ANBC or COB, whichever is higher. Now in this, in 18%, 14% is for NCFs, okay, non-corporate farmers, okay. So 14% is for what? 14% for NCFs, and out of which again 10% target is given for the small and marginal farmers, okay. Now small finance bank, it is again 18%, okay. 18% here, 18% here, 18% here. Now, micro enterprises, the target is here. If you are a domestic commercial bank and foreign banks which have 20 plus branches, it is 7.5% here, not applicable here. Again, 7.5% of ANBC or COB, whichever is higher. And finally, the advances to the weaker section. So, if we talk about the advances to the weaker section, 12% here, not applicable here, 15% and 12%. So these are the updated targets for the priority sector. Okay. Now, let us understand the regional weighting for the priority sector lending. So, regional weighting for the priority sector lending has been introduced with the objective that there are some districts which get the excess priority sector credit while the other they are actually not receiving the deserved lending. So there is actually the mismanagement between the districts. Some districts are getting higher, whereas some districts are underdeserved. right? So maintain a balance, to maintain a equitable distribution of the priority sector lending credit across all the district. There has been a regional weighting for the priority sector lending which has been introduced. So for just creating the balance, if we talk about the balance, when the balance is created to just encourage the proper equitable balance among all the district and to discourage any concentration of funding in a one particular stage, this regional weighting for the priority sector lending has been introduced. Now, if we talk about this particular district classification, so if there is a low credit district, okay, so per capita priority sector credit flow should be less than 9,000. Okay, and for this, the weight which is assigned for the PSL achievement is 125% extra credit for given lending here. So if there is low credit district, very low district, per capita PSL you want to achieve here is less than 9,000 and 125% extra credit if you are lending here. High credit district more than 42,000 here, and 90% is actually the weight which is assigned here. And for the other district, it is between 9,000 to 42,000 and 100%, which is the normal weight. So it is the reduced credit, it is the extra credit. So low credit district, they have to give extra credit 125%. High credit district, they have the reduced. And the other district, if they are between 9,000 to 42,000, there is a normal weight which is 100% to these. Okay. Now, when we are talking about important operational points, this is the complete weightage system, regional weighting system for the PSL, which has been effective from 2023 to 2024 to 2026 to 7. It is actually introduced for 4-year time period. And the coverage, it is applicable for all domestic commercial bank, include the small finance bank, and which are the excluded bank, exempted bank, on which this regional weighting is not imposed or not compulsory. So regional rural banks are excluded from it. Urban cooperative banks are excluded from it. Local area banks are excluded from it, and foreign banks, okay, these are excluded from it. Okay, done. Okay, so this is the regional weighting for the PSL. Okay, now when we are talking about the categories of the priority sector, so now here you have to look the important amounts which is assigned here. Okay, so the first category is the agriculture sector. In agriculture sector, we have the farm credit. In agriculture sector, we have the agriculture infrastructure, and in agriculture sector, we have the ancillary activities also, right? So let's talk about first of all farm credit to individual and corporate farmers. Okay. So, if we talk about the individual, so what is included in individual? These are all included in individual, like crop loans for traditional and non-traditional plantations, medium and long-term loans, like there are pre and post-harvest activities. Then the loan, Kisan credit card loan. Then if you want to purchase the agricultural land, and this is only for the small and marginal farmers. Loan for the agriculture produce. Now agriculture, for agriculture produce, the limit is what? For agriculture produce, the limit is up to 90 lakh with electronic negotiable warehouse receipt, ENWR. Okay, so 90 lakh is with ENWR, and 60 lakhs for other. Then solar pump installation, solar power plant and farmland, these are all included under the agriculture sector priority sector target, right? Now farm credit for the corporate farmers, for the corporate farmer, for the farmer producer organization FPOs, for farmer producer companies FPCs, for cooperatives. Then here the loan which is considered as the priority sector. So for the farm credit, if you are a corporate farmer, FPO, FPCs or cooperatives, loan up to rupees 4 crore for the crop and agriculture allied activity. Loan against produce, it is again with 4 crore with NWR and 2.5 crore with otherwise. 10 crore if for the FPOs, and urban cooperative banks are not permitted to lend to the cooperatives of the farmers, right? So these are all considered under the agriculture sector. So this is one farm credit, okay? For agriculture infrastructure, up to 100 crore per borrower is allowed. If you're taking loan for agriculture infrastructure, loan for agriculture infrastructure, like for example, you have want to have a warehouse, cold storage, soil conservation, for any of these, 100 crore per borrower, not more than that. This is the limit. Ancillary service means the add-on services. Now in this, if you have a our agriculture startup, now here the loan up to rupees 50 crore. If you are a food and agro processing, the loan up to rupees 100 crore. If you are going to give the export credit in the field of agriculture, they are all are considered as the ancillary service. Now what are the definition of small and marginal farmer that you know? Marginal farmers means those farmers which have a land holding of less than 1 hectare. What are the marginal farmers? Marginal farmers are those farmers if you have a land holding of less than 1 hectare. And if you have a land holding of more than 1 hectare, but less than 2 hectare, means anywhere between 1 to 2 hectare, then you are considered as the small farmers, right? So small and marginal farmers definitions are important, okay? And in this, loan up to rupees 2.5 lakh is given for allied activities. It is also countable under the agriculture sector priority sector advance, okay? So for the agriculture sector, we have the farm credit, individual farm credit for corporate farmers, agriculture infrastructure, ancillary service, and the small and marginal farms. Clear? Now, on lending. So there is an on lending concept where the non-banking financial companies and microfinance institutions on lends to farmers. Okay. Now for this particular purpose, if the bank is providing credit to the non-banking financial companies, the credit is up to rupees 10 lakh per borrower is eligible. Okay. So here, if you are giving loan for term lending, bank is providing credit to non-banking financial companies for term lending, then for this, in agriculture sector field, up to rupees 10 lakh per borrower is eligible. Okay. So this is all the agriculture sector. Now let's talk about the micro and small enterprises. So micro and small enterprises, if we talk about, for all manufacturing, service and startup, the loan up to rupees 50 crore is allowed. If you are a startup in a micro, small and medium enterprises as a priority sector advance, up rupees 50 crore is allowed. Okay. Khadi and village industries, loan to Khadi and village industries also countable under MSME. If you are providing factoring service and factoring with recourse factoring, which is only eligible in the trades platform, that is also countable as a priority sector advance. On lending to micro, small and medium enterprises, now here it is up to rupees 20 lakh per borrower. So the maximum limit is up to rupees 20 lakh per borrower. Okay. Export credit is also countable, and if you have any deposit with SIDBI and Mudra banks, this is also countable under the micro, small and medium enterprises priority sector advance. Okay. Now, for the export credit, now here the export credit, if for the domestic, small finance bank and urban cooperative bank, there is a export credit. You can just have 50 crore per borrower. This is the maximum limit. So if you want to take the loan under the priority sector advance as a export credit criteria, maximum 50 crore per borrower is allowed here, not more than that. Okay. Now, if you are a foreign bank which have less than 20 branches, if you are a foreign bank which have less than 20 branches, now for you the target is up to 32% of either the adjusted net bank credit or credit equivalent of balance sheet exposure, whichever is higher. And if you are giving loan for agri, micro, small and medium enterprises export credit, this is also countable under the export credit. Now, education loan is also a priority sector loan. 25 lakh per borrower is allowed for any studies in India, abroad, and or for any vocational courses. The maximum limit is 25 lakh per borrower, not more than that. Housing loan. Now, housing loan, it is depending upon the area wise, population wise. So if you want a housing in that area where the population is more than 50 lakh, the maximum loan amount that can be given is 50 lakh, and the maximum house cost should be 63 lakh, not more than that. If you want to build a house in an area where the population is anywhere between 10 to 50 lakh, the maximum loan amount is 45 lakh and the maximum house cost is 57 lakh. And if you want to have a housing in the area which have less than 10 lakh population, then maximum loan amount that can be sanctioned is 35 lakh and the house of cost is maximum 44 lakh. For repairing of your house, the maximum loan that can be given is between 10 to 15 lakh. Clear? So this is the housing loan, priority sector advance in the housing loan. For social infrastructure, school sanitation, safe drinking water, up to 8 crore loan limit as a priority sector advance. For health facilities, up to 12 crore. And if you want to give the loan to microfinance institution for wash or social need, that is also eligible under social infrastructure category. Renewable energy, for renewable project, street lighting, village electrification, 35 crores per borrower is allowed under the priority sector advance. And for individual household, it is up to rupees 10 lakh. Okay. Now, for the other categories, let's talk about the other categories. So, as a microfinance loan, it is defined as per Reserve Bank of India 2022 year. Self-help group, joint liability group, this is also countable under the others category. Now, here the maximum loan limit is 2 lakh for non-agriculture and micro, small and medium enterprises. Distressed non-farmers, the loan maximum limit is rupees 1 lakh. Okay, state agencies for SC and ST, this is also eligible. And for startups, the loan up to rupees 50 crore. And if we talk about the weaker section category, weaker section is actually included in the other category. So weaker section category where we have small and marginal farmer, artisan, the maximum loan limit is 2 lakh. SC/ST women, the maximum loan limit is 2 lakh. Beneficiary under any type of government scheme like NRLM, NULM, okay, transgender, minorities, okay, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana overdraft is also countable under the weaker section. So these are the 9 categories and the updated figure for the priority sector, which is very important for all of you. You have to learn these updated figures. That is very, very important. Actually, I have already give the details of the priority sectors in the classes itself. This is only the session for the updated figures, not anything else, right? And some of the common guidelines that I have already explained in the class in detail. Okay, so this is it. This is all. This is the updated figures which I want to tell you all, everyone. I hope that you have all understood this session. Very, very important. All the important percentage you need to learn because this can be asked in your examination. And that's why I have taken this class so that you can just learn with most updated figures in the priority sector advanced, right? Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video. Take care, everyone. Bye bye, guys. Bye, everyone. Take care. Bye, everyone.